banned first, usually a pretty safe ban against Peanut, and the Sivir taken out here by the Rox Tigers. The question is, is Rox going to take out the Azir as well?
Well, we saw Faker play the Azir, I believe, in all 3 games recently, or he played it a lot recently, and didn't find any relative success with it. So they might not be as worried about that pick as they normally would be. I think it might have been against Ever that they were playing.
Yeah, Ever also banned it in the final game of that series, so it's been a little bit back and forth. But they're not going to do it. The Vladimir is actually banned out. Interesting, because Faker's only played it a single game this season. It hasn't been a priority for SK Telecom, but we'll see. Again, the Talia we saw yesterday in the CJ match where Sky against Jin Air actually pretty handily won his lane against both Azir and Victor, including getting solo kills against the Azir. So the Azir may have been left up for a possible Talia counterpick.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that is very interesting to see first. Obviously, Ashe much more of a Prey champion than a Bang champion, but they're going to deny it with the first pick.
He has played this a couple times this split, this season so far, but first picking the Ashe, it's a really bold stance to take off the bat here from SK Telecom. Had something much more flexible available, like the Karma, that Faker is more than comfortable to play in the mid lane, Wolf as well in support, but they just want to go all out and pick up that Ashe.
Yeah, that's a big change in priority for SK Telecom. As you say, the Karma has been pretty much their de facto first pick this season, and not seeing that go first may mean a little bit of a tricky draft here from SKT. Peanut, I like the Gragas pickup for him, just because with the Elise and the Nidalee ban, they've taken out 2 of the early game junglers for him to play to have an effect on the map early. So I would like him to play the Gragas. I would love to see that. He has not played it this season yet, but I do think it should be a third pick to actually unleash his early aggression. But it will be the Braum and the Jin coming in instead.
Just going for that bot lane, so Prey, one of the big ones that brought Jin into the meta here in Korea, opting to go for that, and they take the Braum away smartly so that SK Telecom don't have a support that can block all of those curtain call shots.
Yeah, Prey is really the player who brought the Jin play in last season, and yeah, he is definitely the most accomplished Jin player that we have in this league. And the meta's been going his way. When Ashe and Jin suddenly became the highest priority AD picks, Prey was well suited to have that eventuality, and they're going to take the Gragas. That's why I thought Rox would take the Gragas in the first round of the draft. So SK Telecom just trying to pull Peanut away from junglers that he can have a heavy effect on in the early game. Alistar is taken because Jin Braum is not a very scary lane to play against, because Jin just can't stack because it blows very quickly. So good in the late game, good in team fighting, great in team fighting, just like Alistar is, but you get a more or less a more free pass with Alistar against the Jin Braum lane. You're not going to be punished quite as hard.
Well, Gorilla, famous for spamming the Alistar in the last split, so he's going to be very comfortable going up against that. Knows the bounds of that champion, experienced them firsthand after the nerfs, tried playing Alistar a couple times, and it fell flat, but...
Yeah, Braum is his most played champion this season.
Here we go. This is interesting. So Azir going to be locked in for Cry in the mid lane, as well as the Kindred for Peanut in the jungle. So still getting that very aggressive AD jungler, but picking Azir into Faker, always a bold move.
Will we see the LeBlanc come out? And yes, we will against Africa. He had a very famous 0-5-0 LeBlanc game, very un-Faker-like. Trundle will also be grabbed here, but Smeb, he's been very comfortable in the Trundle lanes. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Rumble come out again, or the Gnar.
I don't think have we seen him play Gnar? I feel like we haven't seen him play Gnar yet.
Rumble has
been, Rumble's been the answer. We've seen Gnar from a couple other top laners.
I do agree that the Gnar is a better selection here. Rox, I feel, have been guilty of building too many glass cannon compositions lately, which this would be one of them.
This would very much be a glass cannon.
They have been known to do that just because their skirmishing is so good that they can get away with it. But at the same time, a big tank line, they have plenty of damage with Kindred, Azir, and Jin already. You could also go for more damage with the Rumble, and that would be the Smeb selection in this matchup. But I do feel that the Gnar offers you a bit more. But they're going to take the Rumble, as they usually do, into the Trundle, and this should be a matchup expected here by Duke. But you can see how far the top lane picks actually fell in this draft. Both teams really prioritizing their top lane lane matchups.
No one even went for Aurelia. Made it through the draft. No one picking it up, not even banning it. So interesting to see that that pick wasn't even hovered once. But going back to this Rumble for Smep, going to be pretty comfortable on it. I mean, last couple times we've seen him build this, of course, does go for just pretty much flat AP, maybe a Riley's Crystal Scepter for a little bit of tankiness, but overall is just going to be trying to rush something like the Proto Belt, bring that out, and then go straight for damage there on out. Because the Gnar, we've seen it a couple times. The most recent one that I could think of be Longzhu going up against MVP, trying that one. And that fell flat on his face.
Yeah, but it's also been successful a lot of the time, too. So it definitely is a good matchup if you can start to snowball that lane. Trundle will not have the split pushing advantage against you. However, SK Telecom here, they've got a great pick composition. Ashe with the LeBlanc. You got plenty of engage, too, with the Gragas. So great single target isolation here for SKT. So if they get some picks and start... that's really going to be their strategy. Their 4-1 split is not great because of the LeBlanc and the Ashe are not awesome at Siege. So split pushing with Duke going to be less of an option. Pick composition is probably going to be the best way to play for SKT.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get straight into game one. The match of the century, SK Telecom versus Rocks Tigers. All right, kicking things off with a Cloud Drake. Seems to be the new curse for you and I.
Well, Achilleos, I don't think we're going to need to wait long in this game to start getting these skirmishes together. Both of these compositions are going to want to fight early and often here.
I can see Peanut already sitting on the ramp in full vision. He's trying to bait them in. The rest of Rocks waiting in the wings. Faker going to dash away with the distortion as he takes a couple hits from those concussive blows. They'll get a little bit of damage in. Might send them back to base, but overall not going to be finding any first blood yet, but kicking things off nice and bloody.
That was tricky.
Smart by Peanut.
Yeah, just hiding right there in the zone without vision. Peanut trying to bait them in. I think they didn't wait long enough there before revealing themselves. But there you go. Meantime, we do have lane swap being initiated here by SK Telecom. So he's sending their duo lane into that top side. And as for the Rocks Tigers, I mean, pretty much a high damage pick composition for them as well. We've seen teams like Rocks and KT do some great tower dives with the Jhin, opening up from across the map and then diving with, of course, the Kindred or the Rumble, going to be pretty useful.
Yep. You can see there on your screen, though, the race to 1,000 kills. Faker a little bit ahead of Prey.
But Faker did it in 20 fewer games, so.
That's true.
And all of those were losses for Prey. 146-55, 146-75. Still very impressive records. The race to 1,000 kills. Also, this match, historically, all time, we've seen it a lot the past couple of years since the formation of the Tigers. SK Telecom is currently sitting at 21-8 in this matchup. So, pretty much dominated by SKT. They win about 75% of the time.
Not too bad. See Duke gonna get caught by that Winter's Bite, but will be able to walk back up into the jungle with Blank. And in all likelihood, we're just gonna be seeing the tower race start out in both the top and mid, as these guys will be trading objectives.
Yeah, the big problem here, and I think why we're seeing the draft denial of the Elise, Nidalee, and Gragas by SK Telecom has been that Blank is pretty miserable in terms of statistics this season. He currently has the lowest first blood rate of any jungler, starting jungler, I should say, in the league at 11%, which means that when there's a first blood, he's only contributing it to it 11% of the time, which is just a horrendous stat. Peanut is only at 29%, which is still very low, especially considering he was above 60% last season.
Yeah.
So he's been more of a farming jungler this time around this summer.
I mean, if we compare that to somebody like Score, who has significantly higher stats than
he's now Score's number one in the league now, about 55. But the other factor that's disconcerting is you say, okay, Blank, what are you doing then? You're not actually ganking people, so you're not sacrificing farm to go ahead and get some kills. Are you doing a lot of damage in the late game with all that farm you're getting? And the answer is no. He has the lowest DPM of all junglers in the league also at 275, and you compare that to Peanut at 358. It's pretty significant.
Yeah.
And I still question using Blank right now because at least Bengi is actually second behind score when it comes to first blood. So there's a lot, I think, going on here, and SKT's just been doing the lion's share of the carrying out of the mid and 80 carry because Bang and Faker are number 2 and number 4 in total DPM damage per minute in this league. So they are doing damage. It really is the jungle that's a problem, and we can take a look at statistics, but you also just watch the games, watch the pathing. It's kind of a disaster for these junglers. They just haven't been in the right place at the right time. Blank's been caught out a bunch. Just hasn't been a good look.
Yeah. See though, Cry holding his own so far in this mid lane. Faker will get a nice little advantage though as far as CS goes with this wave crashing in. So he'll just inch his way out. Overall though, not going to be a terrible deficit here for the Azir. The newer player goes back. We'll pick up a second Doran's Ring as well as a Null Magic Mana, just trying to mitigate as much of that LeBlanc burst as he possibly can.
Yeah, interesting that Cry took the cleanse here. Usually you see that more in an Elise LeBlanc matchup, so he's very worried about the chains apparently. Not going to be able to cleanse much from the Gragas really, except for the slow on the barrel rolls.
And the Ash Arrow of Bang lands one
That's
from
true.
across the map.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
have that for the later game.
We've seen a lot of Ash Arrows recently setting up plays across the map, so.
Absolutely we have. But no action here quite yet, and Rox is probably going to be pretty happy just to get the Rift Herald here and trade it out for the Drake. It's only a Cloud Drake, and getting the Rumble in a better place to 1v1 versus the Trundle is always nice.
See Prey on his way toward that Yomu's Ghost Blade, double longsword in the inventory. Bang. Matching with the double longsword, so we'll be getting the Caulfield's Warhammer as the first item, not looking for something like the Hurricane or the recurve bow.
Okay, well, we do have an SK Telecom recall here and putting their duo on the top side. So actually, this is a fight over the Rift Herald, surprisingly. And I think that tells you a lot about Cloud Drake. Of course, Rift Herald, very valuable to Trundle as well, but no attempt to actually contest a Drake or even go for it. And instead, they just send the Ashe straight back up. There is no ward there. They didn't send the deep ward, but they do have traps. So they are going to see that Ashe with the pink ward.
He was an inch from walking onto that thing before he plays the thing. Having a bit of a rough patch, gonna have to TP back to the tier 2 tower. Very intelligently sees that gank coming through with a ward in the river. So he will be able to make it out safe and sound, but TP's gonna be down, which gives a double teleport advantage over to the side of SK Telecom.
Yeah, that's really important. Now they can actually do something with this. Try and make a play perhaps. Where is this Trundle going to go? Are they going to go for the Rift Herald right now? SKT has that option to send everybody up, push the lane to the tier 2. And make that trade, which would be fantastic for Duke on the Trundle pickup. Vision going in right now for the Rocks Tigers. It's like they may not be too bothered by this Rift Herald, as Smed just going to go ahead and play patiently and take the jungle. He's not quite as gold dependent as many other top laners. Back to the Rumble can still fight you very easily at level 6 with no items.
Right, taking a little bit. Smed comes down, finds Blank, trying to take away this red buff.
Yeah, he doesn't know where Alistair is there.
Yeah, this is going to open up Rocks to go for the Cloud Drake, and red will go over to Blank in the end of things. But they're keeping a hold. Actually, no, reset comes through. So he's going to be sticking around for a while. This could give time for somebody like Cry to maybe pinch up, try to make something happen, but looks like they're just going to go ahead and surrender that over to the Gragas. They got what they wanted. They got the Cloud Drake, and I'm sure it's not what they wanted, but a second one will be awaiting us in 6 minutes.
Oh boy. Well, they'll be able to move really fast. And actually,
gotta go fast.
With these compositions, Achilleos, 2 Cloud Drakes is a pretty substantial edge for creating picks. Worth noting, especially with a Jhin and an Ashe to get in position.
That's true. Well, one hit away from getting that concussive blows popped onto him. SK Telecom are able to get a significant amount of damage in onto the tier 2 and top, and now Duke is getting ready to crash the wave into the bottom side. We'll be peeling back, so not a whole lot of damage going to be coming through as Prey's there to answer the wave.
A lot of pressure from SKT, but they're not looking to dive or even really deny these waves. Prey is going to be able to pick up the majority of this CS underneath the turret, and the rest was gotten here by Smeb for the most part. So we're still looking at pretty even score lines and CS scores for the top laners.
Yeah, just going to be a little bit of gold separating so far. Coming out of that mid and bottom side. Prey's been rotating all over the place, so it has been falling behind a little bit. Prey's going to get rooted. Faker jumps back with a distortion. Will come out on top of that trade.
Yeah, he's actually been growing a nice CS lead for himself, 18 right now. Being magnified here as they go ahead and grab that blue buff. Great vision from SKT in the top jungle. That's one thing, at least, that both Blank and Benki have been doing well. About the only, I would say, positive that I've seen out of their play recently, as harsh as that is.
Yeah, Smeb completely surrounded by that vision, so if he goes anywhere, tries to rotate down, they will know about it immediately. You can see SKT still being proactive, going to move over, we'll take this Rift Herald. So, going to give that one over to Duke, I would surmise. Yep, will be him, so
Your
increased pressure.
Your surmission was correct.
I'm so smart.
I'm pretty sure surmission is a word.
I actually don't know. I feel like it is, but I'm not positive. I'm not smart enough to know that one.
I actually don't know either, but it would be appropriate for.
Well, I don't feel bad if you don't know.
A surmising.
You were the
surmising. Your surmising was correct. I don't know.
Surmission.
I'm going to go with surmission.
Let's go with
surmission. It's more fun.
You can always just invent new words.
I know. I'm basically like Shakespeare.
Oh, wow. Peanut going in, takes a big chunk of damage. Root will come through onto Faker. Bullets coming out. Flashes away. We'll take a couple of these. Blank got a body block the rest, and Rocks gives him a window to push in, get some good damage in onto this tier 1. Wolf now running up from the bottom side to try to answer. Faker dashes forward, will only get a little bit of damage in onto Gorilla. And now Rocks could actually maybe get this tower. Faker has to go back, does have the teleport available, but this would be a very aggressive play. Cast comes out, still have a couple of those caster minions. Faker goes forward, gets some more damage in, but this turn's gonna fall in the end. Rocks, nice forward pressure, find another objective.
And that for both of these basically pick compositions is a huge feat right there, taking the mid turret early. And if we track what happened in the lane swap, so SK Telecom, of course, we have these long lanes and both the side lanes. So the pressure when SK Telecom put it down and got the minion waves to the tier 2s of their enemy, they used that time to go ahead and take the Rift Herald. Now we see the waves reverse. Rocks uses that to group as 5 in the mid lane, take the mid turret. So effectively what we have to look at this is, strategically, is a trade of the Rift Herald for the mid lane turret. So bit of gold here, but what SKT is saying is, okay, we're not going to need that global gold. What we need is this Trundle to really start winning this 1v1 matchup and get a place where he's very far ahead. Now, that's a bit of a commitment to the Trundle in a matchup that is hard for him to farm in against the Rumble. So I don't know if that's the right trade. But Rox is going to just answer back with that mid turret, and we'll see who gets the next advantage.
Well, speaking of Trundle, we can see splitting that build. Spectre's Cal coming in with the Tiamat. Assume that it's probably going to be the Titanic Hydra coming in. And then Smap already completed the Proto Belt.
I'll see what he goes for next. He's probably just going to go for Magic Pen with the Haunting guys. And he has liked the Proto Belt, either with the Rylai's into Liandry's or with the Liandry's as a second item. So definitely a big glass cannon rumble here, but there's just so much damage on the Rocks Tigers. If they catch anybody out, they are going to be dead.
Yeah.
And we've seen this Jhin use this way so many times on the sieges. Just open up with the curtain call, create a zone, poke out whoever's at that lane, and then just take the objective for free. So Peanut doing a very good job of rotating with the rest of his team with the ranged jungler. There's going to be a gank, though.
Oh, yeah, going in onto Smeb, who has no idea that this one's happening. Throws out the rocket to try to slow up Duke, but the pillar is there, and now Faker arriving. Can they interrupt this? The pillar's already been burned. They get him in time with the burst from the LeBlanc. First blood goes over to SK Telecom.
Yeah, no way you should use the TP there. You have you have a Proto Belt, right? There's not a lot of extra tankiness that's going to be afforded to you by your itemization. This is a pretty farmed LeBlanc at this point in time, so the answer, though, going to be a play on the bottom side. And You know what? Both teams really sticking to their win conditions right now. When they took the Rift Herald, SKT committed to getting Duke ahead, right? That was their choice that they made in this game, and they stuck with it. Now he's even more ahead, gets the first blood gold with him, and they only have to use one teleport. Trundle's TP still available to match. Yeah. Smeb also burned his trying to escape, so there's more plays that they can use with this powerful Trundle now on the map, and that's what they've got to keep doing.
Yeah, and that's just a bit foolish there by the side of Smeb pushing that far forward with no vision in the river.
Yep, also going to deny a chance to really go after this Drake. So Cloud Drake, double Cloud Drake would have been immensely useful for them. Oh. And we're going to get a pause.
All right, the curse is alive.
Pauses for us all the time, Achilleos.
Yep,
we're the lucky ones.
It's okay. I have faith that this will be alleviated quickly. Looks like we might have a slight issue in the SK Telecom booth. Faker's upset that he didn't kill him even faster.
It's a good play, though, and you know this is what we would like to see in very high-level League of Legends games: is that teams, when they make a decision, they follow through with that decision. Actually, a problem with Gorilla's computer looks like. So his keyboard maybe having some issues. When they make a decision, as I was saying, they follow through with that decision. They commit to it. They try and play that strategy through. They have a concept of how it's going to go in the game, and that's what we've seen SKT and the Rocks Tigers do now. The response from the Tigers was to push hard into the Tier 2, but they couldn't get much from it.
Bang is focused.
Like a laser.
Doesn't care at all about this pause, is just ready to get back into the game.
Wow, that's a very intense look Bang has going on.
I mean, I know you're playing Ashe and you have like a hawk shot, but you don't need to act like a hawk staring at your prey.
He's role-playing. He's role-playing the
staring at your prey. That was an inadvertent one. Didn't even think about it. Oh, dear.
Very nice.
But looks like Gorilla itching to get back into this one, so might just have to have a keyboard swap and get everything back underway. But so far, good play from both sides. Smeb just being the foolish one, stepping out of bounds a bit too much, but the Yomu's Ghost Blade has come in through 4 prey here, so that's going to be a nice little spike as he's going to start working towards that Dusk Blade. Can really start capping some fools.
That's right. That's what you do with the Dusk Blade. You cap fools. That's what I do with sword. I cap fools with my sword all the time. I just like hit him with it. I'm like, fool, you've been capped.
Now you have to throw it at them. You can anybody can hit somebody with a sword.
I hate it when people throw swords.
Only badasses can throw swords.
It tilts me so much. So, have you seen the Kenneth Branagh version of Hamlet?
No.
Okay. You know, Kenneth Branagh did a bunch of Shakespeare movies.
Okay.
And he did a version of Hamlet that's pretty famous. And at the end, there's some rapier throwing, and it's just awful.
Of all of the swords to throw, a rapier.
Yeah, it's really bad.
There's not much weight to that thing.
I mean, a lot of that movie's really good. It's a good version of Hamlet, but then they start the end scene where the big fight happens, and there's some rapier throwing, and it's pretty terrible. I don't know who would make that choice. Like, you're doing Shakespeare, can't you just stab a guy with it and call it a day? But no. Gotta throw it.
They're very thin blades. I feel like those wouldn't do well thrown.
It's pretty cheesy. You should watch it.
I guess you could kind of throw it like a javelin, but I don't know. Sounds like a bad idea overall, but you know what's a good idea? Getting back into the game, which we already are. So Gorilla having his issues taken care of by the look of it, and we will be able to resume. So that second Cloud Drake not yet being a point of contention. Wards in there for SK Telecom, as well as the Scuttle for the side of Rock. So they're keeping tabs on it. We'll make sure he's not going anywhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere. Well,
see, this is the folly of the Cloud Drake. We were calling them genetically superior because they evolved in such a manner that they were undesirable, but when there's nothing but Cloud Drake,
yeah,
they're going to get killed at some point.
That's why Cloud Drakes always have to be alone.
Yeah, they have to rest and live in an area that has other prey available to it. To the Predators.
Yeah, they have to trick the other Drakes to go in there sometimes. You're right, otherwise it does fall apart. Well, SKT going to come in for an invade right now, trying to set up around this Drake. Smeb has actually walked into the mid lane at the moment. At least right now, Rocks, since they still have a mid lane turret up, does have an easier time controlling the wave and making sure that it's past the river so that SKT has a harder time safely doing the Drake. And it looks like they're not even going to go for it. Smeb has to walk all the way back to the top side to get the minions right next to his turret. He is going to have a farm lead off of this, so not falling behind when it comes to CS.
Keep it up in that regard. You got to try to gain as much back as you possibly can, since Duke did get that first blood bonus. Faker goes back. Relanomicon's completed, as well as the Sorcerer's Shoes and a Negatron, so trying to mitigate as much as he can from the side of Cry. And Smev, of course, who's going to be a very big AP threat. Faker goes in, arrow flashed away by Bray, still gets rooted by the chain. Faker comes over the wall with the flash, exhaust comes out from Gorilla, and they're popping him. Concussive blows, not going to get procced quite yet. He dashes away with the distortion, but here comes the curtain call. He's going to hit one onto the mirror image, finishes off the mirror image, and that's going to be the equalizer laid down by Smeb, but they're not catching anybody outside of Wolf, who has that Alistar ultimate pop, so overall, not going to take a bunch of damage.
Still
Faker,
dangerous.
This would be very dangerous, and Faker wants to come back in. You can see the Dragon's going to be confirmed by Peanut. Root comes in onto Wolf. Can they capitalize onto this one? Flame Spitter thrown out by Smeb, but he just can't get in range, and Wolf will live to fight another day. But Rox coming out on top, finding that second Drake, but they do expend a lot for it.
Wow, Bray and Gorilla played that extremely well, and they did have to burn all 4 summoners for just the flash onto Faker right there. So Faker got the drop, forced the flash with the arrow actually, but a really heads-up play by Bray. Let's take a look at this. So Faker's going to get onto him and land the chains.
That was a
great flash from Bray. And he gets over the wall. Gorilla there shows up with a flash on his own, realizing that Faker's going to try and finish Bray off. So great save from Gorilla, and they successfully turn this around to a point where they can actually get the Drake right afterwards. Drop the equalizer. Doesn't do a whole lot, but it is enough to chunk them out and to convince SKT that they don't want to sacrifice the game, possibly, for just a Cloud Drake. But, you know, as much as we disparage Cloud Drake, Achilles, double Cloud Drake in this scenario with these compositions is very valuable.
Well, it's helping him close the gap on the Duke, that's for damn sure. He flashes away. Bray is on the roam up. The W not going to connect, but I don't think it even matters. Duke is going to go down overextended, just like his lane opponent was for that first blood. And that is going to be a kill going over to Peanut. Rox putting one on the board, keeping things nice and tight.
Yeah, and that's where it starts to really matter. That's where we see it, right? Because in these pick compositions where both teams want to make plays onto the side lanes very quickly with either the LeBlanc or the Jhin, basically, because the Jin's going to show up to zone people off of turrets and to deal the upfront damage with the armor penetration build and the curtain call to force people away from objectives. Getting there first and getting the pick down, very good. So Rox really with a 1-2 punch right there, taking the Drake and then immediately transitioning into a kill onto Duke, who they need to keep down in this game. So both teams really playing well so far and adjusting to each other's win conditions accordingly.
Yeah. Main concern, though, for Rox is going to be that they have a gold deficit and they're up that tower. Granted, they have committed and gotten one more objective globally compared to the Rift Herald. They have those 2 Cloud Drakes, but definitely need to equalize these. Count of the CS. Faker's going to get a rooted. The Mimic gets popped. Has he chosen the right one? He did, but he couldn't finish him off. Faker gets out with 30 health in the end of things.
Wow.
But what an opening there from Prey. Lining it up says, if you just start here, you're still going to go down.
Yeah, this has become an excellent game of just between Prey and Faker, honestly.
He wouldn't have had it anyway.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had it, but nice guess. And this game, man, it's about who can burst who down faster, so you really see the mind games taking hold.
Oh, arrow comes out. Prey, though, going to get popped backward by the cask, and that is going to be it. The Q from Blank, enough to finish him off. Nicely played, and Prey getting a little greedy, not retreating back under the tower.
He was seen by a ward. I mean, you can see that ward right there in the mid lane. Very sloppy, so Blank just picks up a kill right
now
afterwards.
Gorilla walking onto one. It's going to be the headbutt pulverize coming through.
They know Cask is down, though.
Oh, but the TP is going to be coming through very aggressive from Faker, right into the thick of things. Nicely timed Glacial Fissure. Gorilla will still get rooted out, but has that Unbreakable up to block any more projectiles. And that should be the end of the aggression from both sides, but this could put SK Telecom in a good position to push in towards this mid turret, get some more damage down onto that structure.
Yeah, that actual layering right there,
Faker's going in onto Cry, gets the double sigil pop, but can't land the chain, so he just has to snap right back out, but that's going to send the Azir packing, and now Prey is going to have to be the one defending, and we saw what happens when Faker meets Prey.
Yeah, he probably wants to go for a Maw as a second item here. Usually we've seen Prey or Arrow go for the Duskblade second, but he's going to need some protection because Faker's definitely gunning for him. Nice sidestep on the root right there. But as I was saying, great layering of the Bard and Rumble ultimates in that choke point to prevent them from following up onto Peanut and Gorilla.
Yeah. Oh. Blank will be able to confirm the big Raptor. Smite to take that one away. Peanut just a little bit too early. But Cry going to be able to get this blue buff. finally. Didn't get the last one as Peanut had to take it. So that'll be nice for him, but he's fallen behind. 22 CS down underneath the Faker so far. And has not contributed to a kill, so even more of a deficit as Faker has that one assist.
Yeah, he's not doing too badly, though. He did interrupt his Morellonomicon on this build to pick up the Negatron Cloak, so it was a little bit haphazard for a little bit, but he's starting to finally finish some of these items now.
sktt committing with 4 members into this mid side. You can see the burst coming through from the LeBlanc onto Peanut.
Yeah, he did it for free, too. No punishment on that whatsoever. Just popped right in and took Peanut down to 50% health. Prey still farming in the side lane. He's got to get out of there, though. Recall started. Is it going to be enough time? Looks like the answer is yes.
They know he's backing off. They can't close that distance, so they can't make it. Maybe if they had 2 Cloud Drakes.
I mean, seriously, yes. Like, this is one of those things when both teams are all about the collapse, double Cloud Drake really does matter.
Yeah.
So that's like the one time I've said that since the Elemental Drakes are introduced, but it is valuable in this scenario.
I love poking fun at it, but I'll be damned if it's not doing work for Rocks and getting them out and into these different fights as we saw them get their first kill on that top side.
It's probably more valuable for SKT. Like, if they have 2 Cloud Drakes with a LeBlanc, the speed at which they could get across the map would be absolutely amazing. But it's still very good for the Rocks Tigers here.
You can see, though, the damage coming through from that Jin. Chunks Faker down about 30% just with the W. You can only imagine what that last crit bullet would do to him. Faker's not going to stick around to find out. We'll go ahead and recall back. We'll see which way Prey wants to go. Just has the long sword. Could be shifting over to go for the Maul of Malmortius. Maybe even just get a Hex Drinker to start things off and then go for the Dustblade. But so far not showing a whole lot with that build. But my God, it was a 3rd Cloud Drake. Rock starting this one up. It's going to be confirmed by Blank, however, in the end. W's not going to land. He goes over the wall with a flash. Curtain Call will find several shots onto him. Duke TP'd down, but hasn't found a way into the fight. And will, in all likelihood, just back off down this mid lane. But SK Telecom stopped the triple Cloud Drake from coming through, and they pick up one of their own. Yeah,
Blank bold to go in for that, but you would rarely see somebody sacrifice their, or potentially sacrifice their life for a Cloud Drake. But getting it onto SK Telecom so that at least they can match some of the speed is huge.
Oh, Faker goes in deep. Peanut thinking a hell of a lot of damage. Lures on the land from Spite. Now Wolf caught out. The concussive blows come through, and he's going to fall. Smeb finding the kill with a Flame Spitter. And SKT have to rethink that one, going way too deep and give up a kill onto the support.
Peanut played that so well. One of the keys to Rock's composition working against the burst that this LeBlanc has is getting the Lamb's Respite down. And he flashed backwards to make sure that SK Telecom wouldn't go on top of it. And then, of course, the Glacial Fissure and the Equalizer coming out again to punish the dive. A little bit too aggressive there, and that's something that both teams have been guilty of in recent weeks has been SK Telecom and the Rocks Tigers. They like going too deep. They like playing too far underneath some of the turrets and giving up unnecessary kills. SKT didn't play that as aggressively as we've seen in circumstances where, say, Faker dies, but still maybe a little bit too overeager, considering that there are so many tools that the Rocks Tigers have to trap them underneath a turret.
Yeah, that Lulu game comes to mind.
Yeah, that was bad.
That
was really bad, the flashing under. Yeah.
That was a very poor performance there by Faker. That whole series was pretty bad, but doing considerably better this time around. Burst damage still coming through, now has that Abyssal Scepter completed. We can see Rocks waiting in the wings for Duke to come up to this top side, but think better of it. They're going to move back down and try to help Cry defend this turret that has been getting whittled away ever so slowly.
Well, it looks like it's going to be Duskblade, so Prey.
Okay.
He's really trusting Gorilla to be there with his hand on the trigger of the exhaust in these fights. You know, the Cry, you know, sometimes we would see maybe the mid laner consider taking exhaust in a situation like this also. So it's just one, and it's Gorilla. Gorilla's been there so far.
Oh, they're going to open up here with the curtain call straight into the Equalizer burn. Bang down below half HP. Last shot will find Wolf take a hearty chunk off of him as he does not have the Alistar ultimate available. The W not going to find a route, so just going in to try to push SK Telecom back, but Duke is just sticking around on this top side, and he can get a very fast shove in towards that tier 2 tower.
They're sending both Kindred and Rumble up top now to try and deal with Duke.
Well, they do find if there's on the pillar, and they won't be able to close that distance. So
yeah, Cloud Drake.
Can't catch me.
Yeah, now 3-1 would have been very difficult for Duke to ever split push in this game because of the long-range engage from the Tigers. But with one on their side, they're only one up now, the Tigers, so it's a little bit more manageable for SK Telecom. And taking a look at this blue buff at the moment, Faker would love to get his hands on that.
And it's going to be Blank. Takes it away with the smite. Come on, man. I had the burst.
He'll get his own.
He just had to do that. Now he's angry. He goes over for Prey. Won't be able to finish him off, but he does get the heal out of the Jin.
He's just been pulling summoner spells.
Oh, wait. I think he did get it. I guess, did Blank have the other blue? I can't tell which one happened. Oh, no. Faker's is about to expire.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So Faker had the previous one. Blank got the new one. That's what I thought happened.
All right. Cross-map play here from Peanut and Smeb. Smeb has his equalizer back up already.
Yeah, got to get him into combat. Getting on the Duke. There comes the equalizer. Duke has to flash out of it. And they continue this chase. So jumps over the Protobell. Actually dodges the arrow. Now they get right onto the Trundle and they take him down. Faker going to get interrupted by the Glacial Fissure. Has to dash away with the distortion. Snaps back. None of these bullets going to hit except for the last one. And it might be the only one that matters. He's got no HP. Here comes Cry. Can he close the distance? The flash is not available. Throws out the Sand Soldiers, but it doesn't matter. Faker makes it out alive. Meanwhile, on top lane, Peanut getting aggressed on by 3 members of SKT. Has a Lamb's Respite, but there's just no chance. He goes down. Blank finds that kill, and Faker miraculously making it out alive.
Well, this game hasn't been short on entertainment, Achilles.
No, it
just
has not.
Massive outplays. And we've seen so far in this game, TP coming through, Gorilla shows up, turns the corner, finds Faker. Then immediately, look at that communication. Curtain call starts, and it's just about dodging bullets for Faker. Gonna bite one, but he'll get out. The help of his distortion and the flash, which was still available. Notice how long he held that flash, too. He was very sure he wasn't going to die to that 4th shot. Or very lucky.
You know, I don't know which one it is, but with Faker, I'm going to chalk it up to skill.
Yeah, really scary there for Faker. Duskblade now complete for Prey, so his execution damage certainly going to be.
Oh, arrow comes out, finds Cry, but Faker wants to go straight on to Prey, has that chain connected. Cry goes in, gets the Emperor's Divide, but it's too late to save the life of his AD carry. TP still coming through from Smeb, but I don't know if they can really correct this mistake. Bang gonna take a bunch of damage, actually. Has to flash over the wall. TP gonna be matched now. Mike Duke actually cancels it out the last second in the bottom lane. He'll continue that split push.
Yes, he will. Split push keeps on rolling here, and now no teleports left available.
Faker goes in on the Cry, gets a bunch of damage, and Cry has to back off. He dashes back with the distortion. Almost gets the kill in onto that Azir. Wow, Faker is just playing so bloodthirstily right now.
I mean, he's playing great, but Gorilla, you have to commend him too. He's been there with the exhaust every time now, and also canceling that TP. So clutch, Gorilla's play.
Oh boy. Well, now this is going to be the Drake started up, but Rocks can't contest, so Ocean coming over. And of course, 29-minute mark, it will be the Elder Dragon, the next one spawning for us. So 3 clouds and an ocean.
Definitely.
Some beautiful scenery.
Some beautiful scenery. Who doesn't like a bit of water and sky? I don't get to see that much these days, Achilles. Too busy inside casting esports.
Yep.
Someday I'll get a vacation.
Another Busan final.
That's right. I'd take that. That was great. I would definitely take that. So, really close game. 1,000 gold here at 30 minutes in.
Nope.
Arrow.
Yep. Not going to land.
Hard to hit that Azir. But without flash, a little bit of a better shot. Smeb now rolling into the mid lane. SK Telecom starting a split push, but they don't have TPs. To be a little bit careful. Mid lane turret's still up, and that's one thing the Rocks Tigers have done an excellent job of this game, is maintaining that hard point in the mid lane, because it really has limited the amount of potential picks that SK Telecom could get because their vision hasn't been able to go as deep. So it's been great. The use of the Azir turret to maintain that pressure has been extremely important here for the Tigers.
Yeah, well, Peanut, look at this, caught out unawares, can't even throw down the Lamb's Respite. He's going to fall just way too aggressive into the side of SKT's jungle. Now Faker pinching in from the backside. Out jukes him, will get rooted. Throws out the equalizer. Faker will be able to walk out of this one with his life, however, gets a shield. from that locket. He stays alive. They find Peanut. Faker, the ever elusive, makes it out yet again.
Faker's LeBlanc play has just been exceptional in this game. It's been so good, as we come to expect. His last LeBlanc game was a disappointment.
It was very poor.
Disappointing. But this game certainly has not been. He's doing everything he can to help his team, and it's also been equally good from the Tigers in these team fights, just getting the exhaust down that they need to make sure that he can't get those kills. Also, just great preemptive flashing by Prey at times. So it's been a bit of a game of cat and mouse between Faker and Prey, and it continues here. Peanut in that last fight, the idea was right, but unfortunately, basically what he needed was his four-man group to push in the mid lane, and then he could counter jungle a little bit. He jumped the gun and got caught.
Oh, Red's off, gonna get taken away. Blank is able to smite that one out. SK Telecom are starting to inch forward now with a 2,000 gold lead. Still nothing very significant here at the 31.5-minute mark, so definitely could go either way. Prey is still yet to invest into any sort of MR.
I think he's crazy. I'm so surprised he went for the Duskblade.
Yeah, this is a really scary build. Also went for the Dirk instead of just waiting out for the Hex Drinker, so it doesn't even get that minuscule shield compared to the Maw.
He's decided he's going to fight fire with fire, I guess. He has died a couple times, but he's also contributed a lot to taking objectives in this game. It doesn't really reflect on his score line.
Look at this. Faker, the shark, waiting in the brush.
He's going to go for it.
Going to go in with the distortion. Youmuu's gets popped. Chain's not going to connect. He opens up with the curtain call. Peanut's coming around the side. He's not going to be able to land any of these bullets, but they do push Faker off. So just not connecting on that E, and the LeBlanc backs off.
Yeah, SK Telecom using their double TPs, though, to control the pressure on the map. Cry left alone in the mid lane versus this Ashe, and threat of Faker is very real.
Yep.
Does have not so much HP right now.
That is good, at least for Cry, because he was down pretty significantly in CS. Now he's closed that gap down to about 7. So that does help out, but Bang has been picking up all of the CS on the side of SK Telecom.
Well, that's the advantage of having the double TP, right? Is that you have a lot more options when it comes to farm. Also, the Rocks Tigers are rightfully afraid of stepping too far out into the lane against this pick composition. The Ashe in the mid lane does threaten both of the side lanes with arrows, and Jin obviously doesn't have a wealth of escape mechanisms. He doesn't have that flash out.
Oh, he's got the Hex Drinker now. Wow, okay. That was an interesting interaction. Cry gets off the way, goes right back in. Cast gets used by Blank, not able to create a pick, and Rocks are going to just hold firm in this mid, try to defend this turret as long as they possibly can. It's only down to about 50%, so they still have a decent little bit of HP on that structure to work with, but if Bang can walk up and get some hits in, he will shred that tower. Already has 3 items completed with the Essence Reaver, IE, and Hurricane. And now with this wave coming in, SKT look to get the damage, and Faker goes in deep, finds Peanut. Lamps Spike comes down immediately. Can they answer a kill on the Faker? He gets locked up by the concussive blows, but it's actually the Mimic as he just escapes into the back. Wolf now going low. They can proc this. They will get the root bullets opening up with the curtain call. Arrow from Bang, not going to interrupt Prey in the end. The 4th shot goes wide. Prey finds one onto the Alistar, and the fight continues. Bang taking a bunch of hits from those Sand Soldiers, but Faker comes in the backside, finds a kill, a double at that. Gets taken down by Prey, and the skirmish continues. Rocks down to 2 members, both of them extremely weak. They have to peel back and surrender this tower in the end, more than likely. But wow, Faker going in deep in the backside, finding a double kill.
He died for it, but it was definitely a worthwhile trade. Back in, and Prey overextending here.
Has the flash available, but is it even worth using? Blank's there. He's going to hold on to this one, and he will fall in the end. Blank finds the kill, and Prey overstaying. Pays for that one yet again. All in all, I believe that's a 4 for 3 or 4 for 2 in favor of SK Telecom.
Yeah, and Faker comes in, tries to get the damage on Avina, forces the Lamps Respite early, which is actually very important. And as you say, is the Mimic that was actually stunned by the concussive blows right there.
So quickly that I didn't even notice that at first.
I didn't even notice it either. So here's the arrow. Does just it hit Peanut anyway. Wow, looked like the hitbox was not going to land on that one. A bit of a lucky arrow, but watch Faker come back in through the Raptor pit and then get the Sigil down to also kill Gorilla.
And then he takes the final crit shot for 834 to the face from Prey. But wow, that is a trade that SK Telecom would happily take any day, I think.
Yeah. So Bray again, as you said, afterwards getting caught out, trying to push the wave, and one recall was very sloppy by him next to a ward in the mid lane, did cause a death to Blank and died a second time.
Yeah, oh, he comes in, gets immediately hit by the Winner's Bite, but still chunks Gorilla down below half HP. Wolf goes into the headbutt pulverize, Root comes through, finds Duke, he gets popped up now by the Glacial Fissure. The Sand Soldier's not doing a whole lot. The Curtain Call not really connecting. Rox just holding on to this tower for dear life. It's just a hit away by Bang to go down. The double from Bray not going to connect onto Faker, and SKT will be able to claim this turret as their own.
They did protect it for 36 minutes, which is pretty damn impressive from the Rox Tigers, but eventually it must fall as they chunk out the members of the Tigers. Now they're going to try and go for the tier 2.
Oh my god, Faker actually pops Peanut, going over the wall, finishes him off with the chain, and now Bray, no man's land, he's going to go down. 2 kills now picked up for SK Telecom. Cry near falling as well, has to back off, and SKT are just taking over this game.
Yeah, they are. Faker just doing Faker things this game. Incredibly impressive LeBlanc control, just turning the tides of what was a very close game, but now they take 2 mid lane turrets, they take out Bray, they take out Peanut, and they will take out the Baron.
And there's just nothing that Rox can do to answer this, and SK Telecom, after a very back and forth, a tiptoe game between these two teams, SKT has finally found firm ground to stand on, and they are taking control of the Rift, now having a 5.4 thousand gold lead in their favor, up 6 kills, a turret, and even in Dragons. Now with the Baron in their inventory, going to be looking for this Elder Dragon to really help seal the deal on this victory.
Gorilla has to be careful. Take a bit of damage right there, but has the Sand Soldiers to protect him, and SKT just going all in. Elder Dragon, are we going to see the contest?
The
arrow will swing a little bit wide. I think SKT shouldn't commit to this.
Yeah, looks like they're going to go ahead and back off. We can see the recall coming through Wolf.
If they just stood there, the Elder Dragon takes so long to do that it would have given ample time for them to be poked out by Azir and Jhin. Just need to back off right there. Just use the Baron buff. You can always go back to it later. See if you can crack the base. But SK Telecom, sure, they've got a 5,000 gold lead, but they don't have a great way to end this game. Their siege is very poor with the LeBlanc and the Ashe. So unless they get a pick or get some poke damage down, they're going to have a very hard time. So, and obviously poking underneath when the enemy is underneath the turret as LeBlanc carries a pretty large amount of risk with it. May not want to actually go there, and Rox is very good at kiting with this composition.
Yeah. See though, Blank getting called out in the jungle, still very safe on the Gragas, has that Guardian Angel completed. Double Deadman's played on the side of SK Telecom, as Duke has one, and now another GA comes through. So, you mentioned that if Rox catches somebody, they'll be able to burst them down, but not anymore, it would seem, unless they could get somebody on the lower half of the standings.
Yeah, we also do have to question a bit the Tigers' lack of MR in this game. Smeb has decided to go for Azonius next, which does make sense. I mean, he doesn't have MR, but can evade some of the burst from Fakers, and Faker just be a frontliner turning gold Flame Spitter on. But yeah, maybe you...
Oh,
wow, nice
one more.
accuracy.
Can he get it? Oh, flashed away there by Faker. Will keep him safe, and he gets out of that equalizer at the same time. And SK Telecom on the other side of the map finish off the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, that's going to be a very important recall to buy, though, because Elder Dragon only a minute and a half. So they don't have much time to work with it. They just bought quite a bit unless Faker wants to use his TP right now. Which I don't think he does, but that basically carved off about 30 seconds off of the Elder Dragon timer.
Still, Rox losing these structures around the map now. All of the outer turrets have fallen. That bottom one got burned through now. SKT continuing to push onto this bottom side. Have the Baron empowered minions. Finger coming around the side, looking for a pick. Finds Smeb, gets a good chunk of damage in on him. Won't be able to confirm the kill, but SKT will be able to confirm this tower take and the inhibitor to follow, as Rox has to answer that wave crashing in mid. So SKT very well set up now with a near 10,000 gold lead 40 minutes in to close out game one. Minions pushing forward, Smeb trying to clear them out as best as he can with that Flame Spitter, but he just can't get close enough to those cannon minions.
Yeah, it has to be a game of patience here from the Rox Tigers. They can't lose anybody. They should be able to clear out these minion waves. They have tools like the equalizer to use if they have to.
It's about to come up.
Yeah, it's about to come up.
Can't tell a curtain call because spectator on that is still bugged. But I believe Prey will have that one soon. But in the meantime, the second inhibitor in the mid is falling, and SKT are just making so much back off this Baron, which is just about to expire.
Yeah, even Blank this game, showing up at least some of these team fights and punishing Peanut and Prey. And there are two factors, I think, that have gone very well for SKT in this game. One of them is Faker being astounding on this LeBlanc pick. And the second is they caught Prey and Peanut in really silly places on the map, and that actually helped them build up a nice gold lead. And that was pretty much Faker and Blank's doing. So definitely Blank showing an improved performance, at least in game one of this series, and Peanut just trying to counter jungle when he didn't have any business doing so, dying in the process, and Prey recalling or trying to clear waves in unfortunate positions, getting caught out a couple times too.
Yeah. Rushing the Mortal Reminder over the Maul of Mount Mortius, definitely pretty questionable there by the Kindred. Faker goes in. God, look at that. Just even the double distortion taking Smeb down below half HP. He's going to have to retreat. Oh, the arrow connects. Can they find a pick? Glacial Fisher can start out, but a nice cast from Blank knocks him in straight into a pulverize from Wolf. Lamb's Respite comes down. Fry sends the Sand Soldiers forward, trying to get some poke damage in. Rocks will be able to retreat safely. They have that sand turret up to help deter these Super Creeps that are going to be pushing into the mid side, but SKT still very healthy, have that Ocean Drake at their disposal, so they will be safe to regen up.
Blank gonna dodge out of a possible root coming through right there, a bit dangerous. Tigers now moving into the top lane to defend their final inhibitor, but it's going to be tall order.
Yeah, look at this wave coming in on the bottom side. It's massive. It's got to be double Super Creeps moving in there, and Smeb has to answer that one, while the rest of Rox tries to defend the remaining structures, including this Azir Tower, which is going to be collapsing in on itself shortly. There it goes. Bang gets a couple shots in onto this turret up top. Cry just trying to poke out where he can, but you can see Blank is just not taking any damage. Faker comes in, chunks Gorilla down to about 45% just with the distortion and Sigil Chain. Combo, Gorilla gets knocked back, has to get out of there. Peanut does not have the Lamb's Respite available, gets popped out by Faker yet again. And now Rocks are just scrambling to try to hold on to this space, to try to hold on to their lives. Prey flashing away, trying to retreat back toward the fountain, pops the Kurt Call, trying to get on the Bang, but he's not going to be able to find the shots. Duke eats the last one. Faker goes back in and just eviscerates Gorilla. Smeb is going to follow suit, and Prey with nowhere to go will fall, and SK Telecom, clean cut in the last half of this game, will take down Rocks Tigers for game one.
Yeah, what an exciting first game of this series. This is everything.
Oh my God.
As Faker will end this game with a triple kill. Everything that I hoped the first round robin series could have been. And it starts off with a very nice display from both teams. Minor mistakes turning this game, but a great finish from SKT. And man, Faker just putting the team on his back.
Absolutely. What a performance on the LeBlanc. 8-1 and 4 to finish out. And Blank, talking about it, significantly better performance. Didn't die a single time in this first game. 6-0-7 his finishing scoreline.
I do think he was helped by the lane swap and the fact that he didn't actually have to do any kind of early aggression in the jungle.
Sure.
So lane swap, I think, does help hide some of SKT's flaws in the jungle right now. So we'll see if we get standard lanes in the next game. For the most part, though, very well played by the Rocks Tigers also. We saw those early skirmishes, and the way that Prey and Gorilla were playing against Faker was beautiful to watch. That looks like we've got a very nice series on our hands, Achilleos.
Now we do. And you have to wonder, what is Rocks going to be doing, pulling out in the mid lane this time coming in? Will we see Cry stick around? Will we see Kuro come out?
I think Cry played actually pretty well, so I'd be surprised, but you can see right there, Faker topping out the damage charts, about 34,000.
Yeah. Prey doing a good amount as well, but in the end, just a little bit too squishy, very greedy with the build, going for the Duskblade before the Maul of Mount Mortius, and that was enough time, enough of a window for Faker to utilize that burst on the LeBlanc and just regularly, if not kill him, at least poke him out of the fights.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, glad to see SKT looking a little bit more confident.